This video is going to show you all about how to set restrictions on various aspects of your class team so that you can control what students can and can't do in your team. So this is assuming that you've already set up a class team. It must be a class team to have some of these restrictions. But we're going to click on here now and see this team that I've already created. Now, in my earlier video, when I'd set up the team, I did automatically set the general channel to only allow the owner to post. But I'm just going to show you that again, just in case you've created a team and didn't see that. So when you hover over the three dots on your general channel, which is the main channel where you're going to post information, you want to click on those three dots and choose Manage Channel. And then only owners can post messages. You want to make sure that that's the one that is showing. Now, when you do post into your general channel, you can see here you've got new conversation. Now, by default, students can respond to messages. If you click this little button here, you can see that you've got the option to turn that off and say everyone can reply. I want to change that to only myself and other moderators can reply. That way, students can't respond to things in this general channel. Just while we're here, you can also drop this down and you can say that it's an announcement, and it gives you a nice format. You can give it a little background picture so that you can, I generally do this for each of my major sections. I'll put in a nice pretty little welcome message, and then all of the things related to that will go underneath that section. So just drop down that, make sure it's only you and moderators can reply. Obviously, there are times when you definitely may want your students to be able to reply, so you can leave that on. But if it's, try and keep this general channel fairly uncluttered. So I tend not to let the students post anything into my general channel. Now, if you do create a new channel, which you would simply do by clicking on the dots, these dots here, and choosing Add Channel. I'm going to call it Test Channel. It's going to add the channel. I'm now going to need to set my permissions on this channel as well. So I'm going to drop that down, choose Manage Channel, and then I want to say that channel moderation is on and that team owners are the moderators, and only moderators can start a new post. I can also at this point say allow members to reply to channel messages. I can say no to that and turn that off. Okay, so that is how we set our channel permissions. But there are a couple of other places that we want to set our permissions as well. Now, the main one is here in our files section. So at the moment, by default, if you don't do this next kind of slightly awkward tip, there is a class materials folder that you can put things in, which students, here it is, cannot edit what's inside here. So those are read only for students, but teachers can edit. Now, however, at this level, students can put files and folders in here at this point in time. Now, you may want that. You might have a great class that you really trust really well, and you want them to be able to share work with you and with each other and to all have access. But if you do not, then what you need to do is, it is slightly tricky, but you click Open in SharePoint, and this is going to open in a browser. The SharePoint is the back end of how Teams is running. And just close this. We don't need to design our site. I'm actually going to go back up to the documents level so that I can now control both the general and the test channel here. And if I hover over here, the three dots downwards appear. I click on that and choose manage access. Now, by default, all of the members of this team can edit. I just simply drop that down and choose no, they can only view. I'm going to do that for my test channel here as well, because I want them both to only be able to view the files and folders and not be able to edit and upload their own files. We've done the channel permissions. The next thing that you may want to do is, if you do allow students to chat in a channel for any reason, perhaps they're allowed to post questions or things like that, there might be times when you want them to do that and times when you don't. So what you can do is manage the team. I'm actually going to need to add somebody into my team. So let me just add one of my colleagues and make them add my colleague. However, I'm adding her as a student. You can see here now in members and guests, I now have one student. I have the ability to mute students, and that will mean that they are unable to post into any of the channels at that point in time. So that can be a really good way for handling if you want students to access perhaps during class time when you're there to answer the questions and moderate those questions, particularly during online learning, but you don't want them to be able to post into those channels when you're not actively monitoring it. The other thing that you can do is turn on that moderation, and then every student, every post will need to be approved before it gets shown. So you might do that if you've got questions that students are asking, and then you want to allow other students to see those questions because they might be helpful in seeing the answers, but you want to approve what goes up there first. I tend to do that with my lower school classes, and if I've got really good upper school classes, then I might leave the channels open because they can help each other for homework and things like that. I hope that that's really helpful, and I look forward to seeing all of your teams in action.